Welcome back, guys. Why was the Duramax gone for basically a year and no content was made, nothing? That would be because this fucking thing blew a head gasket. What it was doing was it was pushing coolant into the overflow. There's two sides on the reservoir. It's pushing it from the main side into the overflow, and it was causing the coolant level low light to go off, and hard like upper radiator hose, even when it was cold. When you relieve the pressure, like take the cap off and relieve the pressure, it would fill the main side back up and drop the overflow side. It never really had an overheating issue at all. It drove fine. Nothing really weird, just that's all it was doing. And it was getting annoying because it would go off like multiple times a week. So we'll start at the beginning. The day I bought the truck, took it on like a 20-minute test drive down and up the highway. No problems. Went inside, finished paperwork. After finished and signing everything, I went out, got the truck. For literally the second I turned the key on, coolant level low, had fluid. So I was like, all right, well maybe it's just low. So I added coolant. I had like maybe an eighth of a quart, whatever, half a quart, something like that. It was good for like a week, and then after that, I was driving from here in Lewiston all the way up to like Orfino, because at the time when I got the truck, it was like July. It was the very beginning of July. My buddy's family has a camp up in like near the Orfino area near Dorshak. So I was driving it up there, and just driving it up there, it went off twice. It was weird because it would go off. Sometimes it wouldn't go off. Sometimes it would, but it would go off multiple times throughout the week. But anyways, it wasn't. Coolant level was low. My next thought was maybe it was the reservoir itself, because it has a built-in sensor. But the sensor, I don't think it was the sensor. At the time, I thought it was, but it definitely wasn't. I knew as soon as I seen that upper radiator hose, like super stiff, like almost like rock hard, like you couldn't squeeze it at all. I had an idea it was the head gasket. I just didn't want to tell myself and make myself believe that it was, because I didn't want to deal with that. So my next step was I took it back to the dealer and told him, like, hey, this is what's going on. Fix it. I think it may be the reservoir, the sensor, coolant level sensor. So anyways, I took it in the first time to have them do that. They did not do that. They did a coolant flush, changed the cap, that was it. So then I took it back a second time after realizing that they didn't change it and do what I asked. I took it back a second time. It was then that they finally changed the reservoir, and I got my powder coated cap back, because they also took that the first time. So after we changed the reservoir, it was good for like, I don't know, a month. And usually that overflow side should be like empty, if not barely any at all. So it was empty when I got it back. It was good for like a month of driving just back and forth to work after that. And then after about a month, it went off again. So I was like, all right, what the fuck? So I started calling around to like a bunch of different shops around here. I called one, what is it called? I don't remember the one that I called, but then I called Valley Diesel Works, which is a diesel shop here in Lewiston. Worst company to do business with, let me tell you. Don't, if you're ever around here or in the area, do not recommend it. I recommend you take your vehicle and your money elsewhere, and I'll tell you why here in a second. But I called him, kind of explained to him my issues and what was going on, and he told me, it sounds like a head gasket issue, and I got a hold of him and was gonna do head gaskets, head studs, ARP head studs, which I actually have right here, right there. I was gonna do fleece CP3 kit, fast lift pump 165. I was gonna eventually do a turbo, an RDS 9-blade turbo, but after hearing what I heard and what he did, I won't ever take my shit there. So, after I had, called him and talked to him, I made an appointment, which was like 2.5, 3 months after I gave him the call. So the truck sat at my parents' house for 2.5, almost 3 months, waiting to go to that shop, Valley Diesel Works. So when that day came, I took it there. I talked to him for like, I don't know, half an hour. Kind of just re-explained everything to him, like what was going on and whatnot. He's like, all right, we'll get you taken care of, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, all right, cool. So I ended up taking him. He asked me for a down deposit of $5,500. I was generous and gave him 10 grand. Shouldn't have done that. So I gave him a deposit of 10 grand, and turns out the day I dropped my truck off was also the day my brother-in-law's dad was picking his truck up because he just had some work done to it. On his truck, he was having them to delete it and do some piping and whatnot and a couple other things. But he got his truck back. Well, he went to pick it up, and turns out the shop ended up quoting him like twice, almost triple what they originally quoted him. And my brother-in-law's dad, which his name's Dave, he provided the parts and most of the stuff they needed to do the job. So I don't understand why they had to quote him twice, almost triple what he originally told him. That sounds kind of fucked to me, honestly. So I heard about that the day I dropped the truck off. So, I was actually on my way to Seattle at that time. And my brother-in-law called me and was like, hey, you just dropped your truck off here. I would get the fuck out. Like, get your truck out, get your money back, whatever you have to do. Do not have them work on her truck. And he explained that to me. And then a week or so goes by, and come to find out, not only did they charge him twice, almost triple, they stole parts off his truck. Didn't install all of the parts that he provided to him. Dave, which is my brother-in-law's dad, that's his name, Dave. He had to go back and pick up the parts that he had given to him to put on the truck, which he did not. So he had to turn around and go back, pick the parts up. He also, took parts off his truck, didn't install most of them, charged him twice, almost triple. Yeah, and then so my brother-in-law told me that, and at that point I was like, okay, this is a little insane. Hopefully he doesn't do stuff to my truck. At that point I was kind of a little sketched out, but it wasn't to the point where like I wasn't like freaked out. So after that, like at this point it was sitting there for like a few weeks, and when I dropped it off, the owner told me like, hey, it'll be a few weeks, get parts in, whatever. I was like, all right, cool. So the first few weeks the truck sat there. I was like, all right, well, he's ordering parts, it's gonna take a minute. So I just kind of left him alone, let him do his thing, whatever. And finally about a month later, I messaged him. I was like, hey, how are parts looking? How are things going? He just said an excuse, whatever. The next week, I'd ask him like, same thing. like, hey, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. Just seeing if you're planning on working on the truck this week. He's like, yeah, I plan on starting on it next week, blah, blah, blah. I'm waiting to get the heads back on this LOY, whatever. Keep in mind, he's a diesel shop. He's got like 20 trucks outside, and he only has one left. To me, that just doesn't seem very, what's the word? Like 20 trucks and outside, one lift in a tiny ass shop. I don't know. I can't think of the word, but anyways, yeah. So at that point, the truck sat there for like a month and a half already, and I waited a couple weeks. I messaged him again. I was like, hey, haven't heard anything. You still planning on working on the truck? Blah, blah, getting started on it. And every week, it was like week after week after week. Another excuse. So eventually, after like 3, almost 4 months of dealing with that, I said, fuck it. I went in there and got my truck, got my parts, and got my money back. And, he was cool with me because I was being chill and nice with him. But on the inside, I was like pissed off because I set an appointment for you to start on my truck, and here we are 3-4 months later, it still hasn't even been touched once. I was fucking fuming. My brother-in-law's dad, Dave, when he went and got his truck and he found out all this stuff, he was pissed. Also, not to mention, when Dave had his truck there, turns out it wasn't even him that was working on the truck, anybody at the shop. It was some dude that's like 45 minutes north who does construction that was working on the truck. I mean, when you're, there goes the warranty on like anything. You have non-certified people like work on your fucking truck. I know actually two of them actually that are from like Troy. They help them out, do a lot of work. They're not certified, and 2, I don't know. It's just not a very good, reputable shop. Anyways, back to what I was saying previously. 3-4 months of it sitting there at the shop, I was like, fuck this. So I went and got my truck. I got a hold of the owner of the Chevy dealer that I bought it from, and I told him, I was like, hey, look. Well, actually, I called the dealer. They wouldn't give me the owner's number, so I had to go to their website and find his email. So I sent him a big long email basically explaining what's going on, the challenges I've been dealing with. Not to mention, like, when I also, like, a month or 2 after I got the truck, the TCM shit out, and the general manager or the parts manager and the sales manager I was in contact with the whole time while all of this is going on, like telling them like, hey, the light popped up again, or hey, the TCM went out, or hey, I think it's the coolant reservoir, blah blah blah. So everybody there at the dealer was well aware of it this whole time, and so I called the Chevy dealer. They wouldn't give me the owner's phone number, so I went on the website, got his email, basically explained everything, and a couple days went by and he got back to me. So I drove the truck up there with the blown head gasket. I mean, it was at the beginning stages of head gasket. It wasn't like insane where it was like puking, cooling out, and like overheating and whatnot. But so I was still able to drive it. But so I drove it up there like 45 minutes and dropped it off. Talked to him, kind of walked him around the truck, explained like everything. Could just kind of refresh him like what was going on. And he was like, oh, you know what? We'll get you taken care of. Blah blah blah. So it sat there for, I don't know, probably like a month and a half, waiting on an adjuster and getting parts and stuff like that. If you know how adjusters are, they'll be like, oh yeah, I'll be there Monday, and then not show up till Friday. So I was like that for like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. I don't quite remember, but after that, they did do the tests, and I told them, I was like, hey, I think it's a head gasket. And so I told them I did have another shop do a test, like a few tests for like head gaskets, and they told me, yeah, like, hey, it's head gasket issue. So I told them, and they tested it, and they come to find out it was actually a head gasket. Because anyways, they tested it, and they're like, yeah, what you're saying is true, blah blah blah. I was like, I fucking knew it. Goddamn head gasket leaving the chat. So I mean, after they ran their tests, whatever, it sat there for like another month and a half or so, and then finally they started working on it, and it took like, I don't know, like a week and a half or so, and then I was in contact with the owner of the dealer this whole time, basically he was keeping me updated on the truck, and I was kind of like trying to get information, whatever, but he was honestly really cool about it. Luckily, the warranty covered it all. Didn't really say whether or not my warranty did, because it said my truck's at 149 right now. Instead of like, I don't remember what it was, 130, 135. It said gaskets were something and checked. So I mean, it didn't really say much about it, but luckily, the head gaskets were covered. The adjuster seen my CTS3 monitor. I don't have like the other part to it, so we're gonna like tune it and whatnot. But he seen just the monitor and was like, oh, that's aftermarket, whatever, we're not gonna do it. A lot of these warranty companies, they'll try and find anything and everything, because if anything's like aftermarket or you modify it, they won't even touch the truck. So I mean, that kind of steered me away, after he told me that, from like doing like turbos and bigger injectors and the CP3, whatever. I mean, I'll probably just keep it how it is right now until my warranty's gone, and then after my warranty, then I'll start going to bigger injectors, better turbo, CP3, lift pump, all that stuff. But yeah, the warranty companies, they don't like you to do anything with the motor. Luckily they covered it, but he's seen the monitor and he's like, oh, I don't know. He was kind of iffy on it. And then the owner of the Chevy dealer was like, hey, we got a customer, he's not very fucking happy. It's in the beginning stages of a blown head gasket. Why don't we just do it right now instead of when it's, catastrophic? And honestly, he was right, because I was fucking blazing. I was pissed off because I bought the truck, and since day one, nothing but issues. Yeah, I've never wanted to get rid of a vehicle as much as I did this one. Within the first 6 months of having this thing, I wanted to drive it off the side of a cliff and smile as it rolled down. But I don't know, she's fixed, I guess, now. Running like a champ, so hopefully nothing else happens. Just replaced the door lock actuator, because it went out the other day, so my driver's door was unlocked like 24/7. But yeah, every other one was locked, which is weird. I've never actually had one of those go out in like the newer Chevys. I mean, I know the older Chevys do, like my OBS. I had to do one in that, which was biggest pain in the ass. This one was actually really easy. I got this one done in like 45 minutes, and the other truck, it was like 3 hours. But the after the adjuster and everything, they got the truck all fixed and whatnot, and he gave me a call, and well, he didn't give me a call, he texted me and said, oh hey, your truck's done, blah blah. Like, oh, sweet, cool. So then the next day, you know, it was like a few days prior, or later, I mean, I told him, I was like, hey, you know, I'll be up there Friday. I don't work Friday. So Thursday came around, he's like, hey, you know, don't come up until I tell you to. And I was like, all right. I guess he had to do some like tuning and like, I don't know, he had to adjust some things. I really wanted them to do injectors when they did the head gaskets because it's a 149 on stock injectors. I don't think I've ever seen an LML, let alone any Duramax, go over 200 on stock OEM injectors. I was really hoping for that, but they didn't. Injector balance rates are great. It runs fine. I don't know. That was just one less thing I had to worry about, but I guess I have the warranty, so I mean, if anything else fucking breaks or blows up, just take it right back to the dealer and tell them like, hey, fix it. And then I only have to pay $100 and thousands of dollars I don't have to pay. It ended up being like, I don't know, like 12 grand just for the fucking head gaskets. And like resurfacing the head and whatnots. Which I'm glad I didn't take it to that shop and get ripped off, because probably would have charged me like a few grand more, knowing what I know now. Valley Dieselers, fuck that place. People take their shit there all the time and they're like, oh yeah, woo, such a good guy, like great shop. No, fuck that. Shitty ass shop. Not organized at all. You take your truck in, you get your truck back, you make transactions. He has no sort of like paperwork for you, no kind of like receipts, like you would get a normal shop. You get like a receipt or like a work order. Literally nothing. He doesn't give you anything at all. Not only that, it's not him doing the work. When I dropped the truck off, the day I dropped the truck off to Valley Dieselers, he's all, hey, all right. We were talking, whatever, and I was like, hey, is it just you? Like, there's a lot of vehicles. Is it just you? He's all, oh, yeah, I keep firing all my guys because they fucking suck at their job. I was like, oh, well, okay. I don't know how the fuck you get anything done with it when it's just you. Not only to mention, but his, responding to texts and calls, fucking dog water, dude. Holy cow. You have to text him like 3-4 times in order for him to answer. And, after I got my truck back and, my parts, my money, and whatever, I got to talking because my buddy, another one of my buddies also had his Duramax there, and he said that it had been there for already like 6-7 months untouched already. And so the weeks when he was telling me like, oh yeah, starting a truck, blah blah blah, he was also telling him the same fucking thing. And not only was he telling me, oh yeah, I'll start a new truck, but he was also telling other people that. He's just trying to prolong it and fucking, keep people's business. But when it's just one man running the show and you're fucking ghetto like that, and you do shitty shit like that, eventually you're gonna lose a lot of people, a lot of business. You can't do it all just one guy. I mean, I'm sure you could, but you're gonna be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. But anyways, I don't fucking trust that guy nor his shop. I won't ever take my shit there. After hearing all that and figuring all that shit out, fuck that. I'd rather drive it like 2 hours away to like fucking Spokane. I think it's Spokane or Coeur d'Alene. I can't remember the shop name, but they started with diesels. They do like exotics and shit as well. But yeah. Anyways, got both the rigs. Got the FRS. Got the Dirty Max. Just chilling in their home. Put a fresh coat of wax on the car. Looks so good. I mean, this one spot is like the only spot that really bothers me. That's the one spot you can't get out. Fresh coat of wax on the fenders. I need to buff and polish it. Or like buff and wax. Maybe ceramic. But here in the next few weeks, we're gonna do hex lights. We're gonna do like garage mat. And I'm gonna get those like floor tiles. And I got my new toolbox coming. And yeah, it'd be neat. Anyways, if you guys liked today's video, I know it's just me rambling the whole time, but if you guys liked today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.